So I used to be quite anti-AI. I used to think it was a bit of a gimmick. It's not really going to help with much. It's all hype basically. But in the last few months, a lot has actually changed and I've actually never felt so excited to use AI. And it's wild because of one tool, and that's Claude. To be fair, the same can apply to other AI tools, but Claude is just the one that I happen to be using. I first gave it a whirl back in September and used it for some basic stuff like building a photography website from a folder of photos. But over the last few months, things have gotten out of hand, and that's what's made it so exciting to use for me personally. By the way, I'll leave a link to my sort of stack that I'm using when it comes to building stuff, all the apps, all the softwares, my workflow and stuff. I'll leave a link to that if you guys are interested as well. I do want to give some background context though. I am not a developer. I don't aim to be a developer. I don't like coding really. I've done some coding here and there, but I'm no programmer. I feel like no way would I call myself a programmer. I see myself as someone who likes to use a graphical user interface. I like visual stuff. It's why I consider myself a designer instead. But using Claude, I've started doing silly things that you probably shouldn't do, but I just feel like, hey, I don't really care because I'm not doing it with anything that's too valuable. One of those things is SSHing into my VPS with Claude, giving it a prompt and then just letting it do its thing, which seems to be quite a common thing that a lot of developers are doing. Because if you don't care too much about what's on the VPS, or you're using a sort of test VPS or something like that, yeah, SSHing into it and just using Claude and letting it rip is some of the most fun. Half a year ago, opening the terminal would have felt like I'm hacking into the Matrix. It was just so intimidating. I've been designing web pages and stuff when people were just starting in apps like Photoshop. Now though, the terminal has become one of my favorite apps of choice for design, bizarrely. The great thing is, if you don't like using the terminal, Claude actually now have a sort of code tab in their Mac app, which lets you build stuff without having to use terminal. It just looks like a normal sort of chat prompting app. But let's go back a bit, because the first thing I wanted to do with Claude was to make a sort of Zapier make alternative. Yeah, I know, what the hell was I even thinking? Because building something like that is just absurd. Like, it's silly to try. However, Claude recommended using NA10. I'd never heard of NA10 before, and boy, I wish I had, because NA10 is essentially a sort of automation workflow platform that has superpowers. You can use it to basically automate anything and everything. And what drew me to it was that they have a self-hosted version, which is even better. I have full control over it and I only pay for the hosting. After a lot of research and actually asking Claude, how should I host this thing? They recommended Hostinger, which lines up perfectly because they're also sponsoring this video. NA10 is so popular that Hostinger literally have a dedicated workflow for installing NA10. Like, it's by far the easiest way possible. So when you go to the Hostinger website, you go to services in the top left. You can see all these different things, but you can also see self-hosted NA10. When you click on it, you can see the different pricing and stuff they have. They have a bunch of deals here. KVM2 is the one I personally went for, and is the one that I'm using it for because my workflows right now are quite limited. So if I do need to upgrade in the future, I can, but KVM2 is just the one that made sense for me. So you can choose the plan, you can go through the whole registration and payment processing, but you can also use the code OLIA10 and that will give you 10% off it as well. So it brings it down to $150 for a 2-year plan, which is just absolute bargain. I did a ton of research trying to find actually one of the cheapest ways to do it, and Hostinger ended up being one of the cheapest ways to do it. And then once it's installed, you can simply just open it, and then I can just go through the whole setup process of setting NA10 up. It's really that easy, that quick. Like, it literally takes less than 5 minutes. It's unbelievable how quick Hostinger have made it. And the great thing is, it doesn't have to stop there. I can install other things on it, like OpenClaw or any other sort of Docker apps that I like, and use Claude to manage them, whatever, log in through terminal and just have it all managed. Like, I don't have to worry about it. It's super easy. That's the great thing about having a VPS. You can sort of do whatever you like with it and self-host it, self-manage it. I'll leave an affiliate link below and my coupon code so you can get 10% off as well. The great thing about using Claude Code with my VPS as well is that when I'm stuck, or there's something that doesn't work, or I've broken something, I can have Claude just manage the whole thing for me. I don't really have to learn server management when Claude is my server manager. Once I installed NA10, I started asking Claude, hey, what are some other things that I could sort of self-host? And I was looking for a sort of Google Analytics alternative, because Google Analytics to me is just so bloated. There's just so much going on. And I came across Plausible Analytics, and they have a self-hosted version as well. But I thought, okay, let's take this a step further. Instead of even using hosting as sort of manager for managing the VPS, could I just log in with Claude and then have it install Plausible for me? And yeah, it just did it. A couple of minutes later, I had an instance of Plausible running and I could start using it and installing it on my websites and tracking all the analytics. It just blew my mind because I would have never have done anything like this in the past. I'm a complete beginner, I'm a complete noob, I don't really know this stuff. Yet here I am with a VPS with both N8N and Plausible installed. 6 months ago, honestly, I would have given up if I came across any minor issue. What I had been doing at the beginning when using Claude is that I was just winging my way through all of it. However, I did come up with the realization that if I want to build actual websites and apps, I need to have a system. But doing things the proper way also just seemed archaic and slow. I just wanted to prompt and refine and build something. So I came across an app called Conductor, which I like to see as a sort of juiced up terminal, a nicer looking terminal. You can connect your LLM of choice, so whether you're using Claude or whether you're using Codex, it doesn't really matter. You can use whatever you like. And on the left, you have your sort of repos. In the middle, you have your chat interface. And then on the right, you can see the sort of your files, what's been changed, you can review, and also you can see the terminal as well. All of this in this one app, it just looks so much cleaner than just using the terminal. I found for me personally, this has been the most enjoyable way for me to make stuff and also make sure that I have some sort of system in place. Bad habit that I used to have in the past is that when I did build stuff, I didn't back it up to GitHub. I didn't have versioning or anything like that. Now with this, I can do all of that and just let it automate it. I can even take it a step further. So anything I build locally and then upload it to GitHub, I can then connect my GitHub to Hostinger, and Hostinger can deploy anything that I build. Like for me, that was a holy crap moment because that's when I came to the realization I can automate this whole workflow and I don't really have to do anything apart from prompt. It's just crazy. Now the hard part is actually just making something good. At least it's not as unhinged as before where I was just sort of putting stuff straight into a VPS. Now that I have the system in place with Conductor, hosting and GitHub and everything and all of it sort of working in harmony, it's great because everything just works. Once I'd learned the ropes, I thought, okay, let's try and build something proper. So I actually ended up building a website called Digital Creator Club. And it's basically a website that has a paywall, a login. It can help sort of connect buyers to their Discord and it has a sort of nice membership card as well. I would have never have been able to build something like this in the past because it's just a bit too custom. I would have had to sort of hack things together, use out of the box solutions, use other softwares or whatever. But with Claude Code, I was able to build something the way I want and have it completely custom and also add things if I want to. I can add new features, I can add new functionality, which is what I'm planning to do over the next however many months and years. What's crazy is that in the first week of launching Digital Creator Club, it made nearly $20,000, which just blows my mind. I can't believe that many people bought the sort of membership, the club. I'm going to be adding a bunch of stuff for it. You guys can check it out or not check it out. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think it's a good example of something that I've built with Claude. It honestly blows my mind that a year ago, I was barely using AI, mainly because most of the people that were sort of using AI and the sort of stuff that I hear about it, people were doing things like rewriting things like emails and essays and so on. That functionality just didn't really interest me. But now that I can use it to sort of build actual software and apps and websites and automate things, I've realized my capabilities to make money with Claude Code has just absolutely exploded. And that's what I'm focusing on now. I want to build stuff, I want to make stuff, I want to do stuff where it can help me make money. That's the whole point of this channel and why I make videos on this channel, because I'm trying to figure out different ways to make money, different solutions, and just sort of share my process and story along the way. Check out this other video I did on high income skills for 2026, what I think is worth learning, and also how I made $50,000 from selling iPhone wallpapers, which just still blows my mind. I can't believe I made that much money.